So the first match we'll talk about on this Slammiversary 13 preview is the TNA Gut Check Tournament final to get into the 2013 Bound for Glory series between Jay Bradley and Sam Shaw. They've had a tournament to get there. Bradley won his semi-final. Sam Shaw won his semi-final. I think out of these two, though, I think Jay Bradley is the best fit and the most ready and, the best character for the Bound for Glory series for me.
Well, with this not being a triple threat match, I'm more interested to see how they perform. But when it goes down, they both looked okay, but I agree, I'm going to lean a bit more towards Jay.
Yes. Aces and Eights consisting of Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff, and Mr. Anderson versus Magnus, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy. You look at the teams here, it's a bit of a mismatch, isn't it? The babyfaces really have to go over here. This just seemed like a way of getting some 6 guys on the pay-per-view with some Aces and Eights versus TNA theme there, which they seem to be running with now for ages.
Well, with the Ace and Eights members being the ones that are meant to look dominant, you've got Wes Briscoe and Garrett versus Anderson, who's up there as with Buddy Ray and Devon, versus the injured, returning-ish wrestlers. So, yeah, the babyfaces must get their revenge by getting the big win here.
Yeah, the match makes sense with, you said, Magnus, Joe, and Jeff Hardy returning from injuries due to the Aces and Eights. I just don't really have that much interest in it. It's just a last-minute sort of random match. Gail Kim versus Taryn Terrell in a last knockout standing match. This feud has been built for quite a long time. You had Taryn Terrell as a referee, Gail Kim intimidating her. They've had a match on Impact which really didn't last that long, but Taryn Terrell has won. I'm just wondering who will win this, because it could be a number 1 contendership match. We don't really know because there's no Knockouts Championship match. If it was a number 1 contendership match, I'd say Gail Kim, but if not, I'd say Taryn Terrell, because I think that this would be a fitting way to end the long-term feud that these two are having and get a new knockout over onto the roster.
Well, I'm not really behind Taryn Terrell. I'm not really thinking she's that great of a knockout. But Gail Kim putting over a new knockout could be the way to go. So I'm going to give it to Taryn Terrell.
Yeah, and I do wonder if Gail Kim will be able to carry Taryn Terrell to a good last knockout standing match. Suicide versus Kenny King versus Chris Sabin in an Ultimate X match for the TNA X Division Championship. I don't know about you, NJ, but already I'm kind of getting bored of every match being a triple threat. I believe the match I wanted to see was Kenny King versus Chris Sabin. I felt that could have been a good storyline, but we just have to make it a triple threat because the new rules said so, even though it is Ultimate X.
The ruling thing, I didn't agree with when it first happened, because one-on-one matches can still be as good as having multiple X Division top-style wrestlers. But with these performers that you saw on the Go Home show, I like how they showed this building up to it, but I think Chris Sabin, the whole return, him taking a step forward on his return.
Yeah, and I think with Bully Ray as the champion, with Option C coming up, you need a babyface X Division champion. I'm sure Option C is going to happen at some point soon. So I think this might be the right time to give Chris Sabin the belt, even though I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny King kept the belt. Should be a good match. I mean, Kenny King and Sabin I like. Suicide is a character that I like. It's just a bit stale with it being a triple threat every single time.
I've got behind each wrestler over the last couple of weeks, but I think with the fact that we need build returns like we did with the Ace and Eights match, I think Chris Sabin could just pick up the win.
Joseph Park versus Devon for the Television Championship. All I can say is get that TV Championship off Devon, even if it means going to Joseph Park. You never know, they might even do a switch here and have Abyss come out instead of Joseph Park and win the TV Championship. But if it does go down the line of Joseph Park and Devon, the previous match they had I thought was pretty decent. You got Devon playing the obvious heel, Joseph Park playing the obvious lucky babyface. So this could be a decent match, I feel, based on the characters and the storytelling that could be involved here.
I'm not sure how long they're going to drag on that blood thing before the Abyss character breaks out. If it happens today, because all Devon wants to do is smash Joseph Park to bits, maybe the Abyss character will come out and capture the championship, or it will go down the route of Abyss just going crazy on Devon and Devon retaining that way.
Yeah, and I hope Joseph Park wins this. I really do. I like Joseph Park. A 4-way elimination tag team match for the TNA World Tag Team Championship. We got the usual faces, Los Stereotypicos, Bad Influence, and Wet Dream Team, with James Storm and Gunner in there as the sort of wild card tag team. I really should be looking forward to this, but I'm just tired of the same old faces in the tag team division. It's really getting hard for me to care about any segments involving the tag team championships now.
Well, when we give the tag team championships over to Gunner and Storm, you're giving Gunner and Storm a big part in the TNA show. They're the tag champs, and then they're going to have to go up against the heel tag team. So I'm fingers crossed that we get new face tag team champions.
Yeah, I mean, any tag team champions other than Chavo Hernandez, please. But I have this feeling they're going to retain here. I don't know why, I just do. But it's going to be a bit of a clusterfuck, but hopefully these guys can pull off. I mean, you've got Bobby Roode, you've got Austin Aries, Daniel Kazarian, Chavo, James Storm in there. Hopefully they'll pull off a pretty good match out of these 8 competitors. AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle. Don't really know how to feel about this match because AJ Styles' new character, really interesting, the Lone Wolf, etc. But we've seen AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle done many. I think they fought twice on pay-per-view in 2012, and it's just like, you know, could you not have found a fresher match for a new AJ Styles character that other than Kurt Angle? It should be a great match, but we've seen them face off now many times. It's starting to become like AJ and Daniels or CM Punk and John Cena or Orton and Cena back in 2009.
The sad thing is, this match would have been AJ and Storm, which I would have been more interested in. But I guess for AJ's new character you put over, maybe they wanted a much over character, which is going to be Kurt Angle for this match. The way they did it was kind of rushed, but I'm going to give the win to AJ Styles.
Yeah, I think AJ Styles has to win this one with his new character, his new Lone Wolf character. They have to try and give this guy some, especially if they might be putting him in the Bound for Glory series and possibly maybe winning the championship at Bound for Glory, who really knows, with that whole rule they did at Turning Point. That may have been the plan all along. Before we get to the main event match, actually, TNA's Hall of Fame. Do you have any predictions on who may be going into the Hall of Fame this year? Jeff Jarrett, Hulk Hogan, Kurt Angle. What other names could you possibly put out there to go into be TNA's second inductee into their Hall of Fame in their 11th anniversary?
I think if I'm looking at what we've had Sting. I think it's either going to be Hogan or you're going to be giving it to a returning someone.
Yes, indeed. So leave us your thoughts on who you feel is going to go into the TNA Hall of Fame for the second year. Main event of the show. The 40-odd-year-old Bully Ray, leader of Aces and Eights, versus a 54-year-old Sting in a no-holds-barred match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. If Sting loses, he can no longer wrestle for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. God, I hope Bully Ray wins this. And I think, to be honest, he definitely should. This is his first pay-per-view defense of his championship, and he's against Sting, who shouldn't really be beating a Bully Ray at his age. So I think Bully Ray here definitely has to win.
Well, if Sting does capture it, we all know that Bully Ray's of course going to win the next match because they're not going to give Sting a long title, or not in this day and age. So if Sting gets it, don't think it'll be a long one. But I think Bully Ray, just to end this feud as quick as possible, because I think his main goal is Hogan.
Possibly his main goal is Hogan. I don't know about them wrestling, but I think this is one step to getting Bully Ray some more heat, giving him a big win over a guy like Sting with this stipulation, moving on to Bound for Glory, where he can possibly put over someone else who really knows. That's how I see it anyway. Bully Ray definitely has to win this match. And just overall, really, I can't say I'm all that excited about Slammiversary. I remember saying this about Slammiversary last year and it ended up being one of the best pay-per-views of the year. But there are some decent matches on here that could turn out pretty good. I guess that TNA's product right now has just gone along at a bit of a snail's pace, and I'm just happy to see some kind of payoff, I guess, on this pay-per-view.
Well, with the matches we're getting, I'm looking forward to a big handful of them. I think they could be good matches. The build I'm going to look past for this pay-per-view purpose of being Slammiversary, not many pay-per-views a year. So for that, I'm looking forward to it.
And hopefully, like last year, we'll get some nice surprises and returns and stuff like that, like we did last year, to make it feel like a special anniversary show. But I say one thing I am looking forward to, though, NJ, and I think you know what I'm alluding to here. After that contract signing on Thursday night, that match between Terminator NJ and Fourth Dimension Fall Killer at Slammiversary, the wild card. Some said it was going to be in the pre-show, but they ain't fucking going to get it on the pre-show. It's going to be on the actual pay-per-view. That is going to be one killer feud, grudge, buried alive, fuck-off match.
Because the big thing about this is finally, for the fans that don't want to see him anymore, the fans that like him, the fans that hate him, this match is going to be the end of end-all.
Yes, indeed. It could be the end of Fourth Dimension Fall Killer, or it could be the end of Terminator NJ. Either way, the IWC benefits, don't they?
They feel they do.
Indeed. So tune in for that on Fall Killers. I believe that's going to be on Fall Killers channel, isn't it? That is, because of the coin flip. I think the coin was rigged, but, you know, there we go. Leave us your thoughts on this Slammiversary pay-per-view, your thoughts going into it, and make sure you tune in for our review of it on Sunday night. I have been Mr. Parkin. This guy sitting next to me, TNA through and through, is none other than NJ. We are the British Fist. Signing off. Goodbye.